are you familiar with permaculture?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what I'm wanting to do.
See, that's what we're doing here.
I'm trying to do that at my mom's place in Ebro, Florida, actually. Where
Yeah.
it's nothing but sand. You guys
Right.
got a little bit better soil than she's got.
Well, this was church. This had been farmed. There was absolutely nothing here but a cornfield when we moved in, the day I bought it.
They just
there's a little bitty
agriculture
farmhouse
the
that's
de-
actually...
agriculture to the death. You know?
Yes, it was like church almost. I mean, it had bare spots everywhere. So, of course, it's better now. It's still not great. But I found out you really need to put animals on it to improve it.
Oh, yeah.
So we've got goats. We got goats about a year ago. And I'm going to eventually, so the plan is, by next year, I hope to be running goats over the whole fields, both fields.
What are you going to do when you're done?
With the goats?
When they've
We're gonna
eaten
eat
everything?
goats. They won't eat everything. What you do in a permaculture system, oh, Booty, well, I'll let you come. He pees all over everything. I don't like him peeing on my stuff.
So
Anyway.
you're paddocking the goats?
So the idea is to move them quickly every day.
Okay.
You move them everywhere, and then you run chickens behind them. You can have
Yeah.
a cow, and I'll eventually we'll get a calf or two probably. Tim doesn't like cows, but we need some beef. We want our own beef because we want to know how it's grown. So eventually we'll probably get some beef.
You got enough land? You
Yeah, we
paddock
can.
it up.
Absolutely, we want to be zero input. So, and we can do it. We can do it. There's just two of us here. We have friends and this and that, but we easily can do it with this much land. It's 14 acres of cultivated fields. So my system is I'm going to put a goat house there and a goat house here and maybe a third one depending. He cuts this grass right now. And you do a spoke, spokes all the way around. So you move them like this every day.
Every single
And they
day.
said in 1 month you'll see an improvement in the soil. In a year it's incredibly good, better than what it was. So your goats will eat everything that nothing else will eat. Your cow will come back and it'll trample the weeds it doesn't like, and it'll eat the good stuff, and that'll come back. And if you move it right, you have to do a cycle so that you don't let them eat it too close to the ground.
Right.
And that it grows back. And
Yeah, it's just the goat thing. I had heard goats are great if you want to clear a forest. Basically.
yeah, but you can.
But
you
at
can
some
run-
point they start clearing your.
Well, you'll see down there they killed my peach trees.
Yeah.
Although I just learned, and I posted this today on Evershare on Facebook. I have killed all my trees. I've killed almost every tree on this property. We had about 16 trees here, of fruit trees, and I planted them too deep, and I didn't know that until last weekend. So you see that tree's about to go. That tree over there is about to go. This one we've saved, and that little one we've saved, but I didn't know that we did it wrong.
Pete Canaris says high and tight.
Yes,
High
and
and
I
tight.
had no idea until last weekend. And I mean, we had bugs, we had everything. So I've got new pecan trees down there. So you will see today, I dug them all out yesterday. I'm real sore. I dug out my pear trees down there because they're doing really good, although they have bugs. So I dug all those out yesterday, down at least this much, and I got way down to where I should have been. And maybe I need to go a little further, but right now it should help until the bark comes. And I just had no idea because nobody tells you.
Yeah.
And you look online and go down, and you got this. Anyway, I killed everything. I had some heirloom trees here that were 300 years old, and I killed them. That's the only one that's left in the corner.
Can you get more of them?
I don't know.
Can I have some cuttings while I'm here?
Yeah, the lady was 80-something when I bought them, and it was her last year, but I know where she lived, and I think her family, I don't know if her family still owns the place, so I'm going to go look and see, because she had hundreds of varieties.
What kind of, it's not a name, it's an heirloom, just
It's
one
several.
that
She had
knows
all
is
kinds
good.
of heirloom trees that their family had kept in the family for 200 and 300 years for a long, long time. I don't know where they got them all and how they, but she had many.
But from
varieties.
this area, though?
In Nakalulu Falls.
Oh, okay.
Yep, which is only 20 minutes from here.
We
25
grew up in
minutes.
Gadsden.
Oh yeah.
5
I
miles.
didn't know that.
5 miles from Nakalula.
Yeah.
Okay, so she lived right near Nakalulu Falls.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go there. I still got
You
her.
keep calling it Nakalulu, it's Nakalula.
Nakalula.
Get that
Yeah.
right.
Okay, Nakalula. Sorry.
She's the one that jumped off of the
Yes.
edge of the, okay, you've been there.
Nakalula. Sorry.
Or Lulu.
Yeah. But anyway, that I think is an heirloom apple right there. And that one's the Asian pear, and we just bought it at the store. And of course we haven't trimmed it very well, but then branches just broke off of it. It's gonna die. So we're gonna try, and that's a Granny Smith, and it's not doing well. You can see all the bottoms like about dead.
What you got growing up right beside that? Is that comfrey?
No, that's just poke. That's
it?
poke
Poke?
coming up
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yep. Poke
You know,
salad.
I heard comfrey's really good to plant with
Yes,
apple trees.
and
particularly.
garlic is. You need to have, that's what I was trying to do is put permaculture around all these trees.
Oh, really?
And I got them a little too high.
Yeah.
I kept digging it out in the center, but it wasn't. We just did it wrong. So that's what all these mounds are where trees were, and they're all dead.
Ah, wow.
So, but now this is elderberry, and
Yes.
it's doing great.
Oh,
I mean, look
God.
at it.
Yeah.
And the other side of that is a plum tree, and my plum trees are the only ones that have lived. So, and they've
God,
done
it's
great.
doing fantastic.
Yep, the elderberry went nutso.
When does this fruit for you?
It does. The problem is the birds kill me. You have to.
You gotta have enough to share with the birds.
Well, I'm trying, but they still get every single piece off of there. I mean, they decimate it. I'm probably going to have to.
When does it normally fruit, though? I mean,
God, I think in June or July.
okay.
And I probably could put nets over it. I'd have to put some netting to keep it.
Yeah.
So you see all the blooms.
But you know what they'll do is they'll eat those elderberries and they'll fly over here and plant you some elderberries.
Yeah, I know.
So,
Well, we
be
keep
too
everything
angry
cut,
with them.
so it's not.
it's just right here.
This was a Japanese something or other. The other one's a Chinese something or other. It was only supposed to get about 20 feet tall, and Tim's threatening to cut it down. But they have done
Is it
wonderfully
fruit,
here.
nut,
No,
or
no.
It's just
Deciduous. The leaves come
Okay.
off in the winter, which actually works
Okay.
well because now it's
'cause
shading the
this
house.
is the southern end of your
Yes.
house. I can tell by the construction.
Yep, shading the house, and the panels are still very visible. So I think we're going to be fine because I don't think it's going to get a lot taller. It's just going to, because it's not meant to, but we sure did fertilize the crap out of that ground underneath. We were growing the garden there, and so when it was real small, and so it had tons of good stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, that tree has gotten huge. If I'd put it about 10
Perfectly
feet.
round, too.
Yep, if I'd put it about 10 feet, south, it would have been a little bit better like
See,
the other
this
one
would
is.
be great for climbing if you were.
Oh,
if
my
you were
grandkids
little.
love it.
If you can get up in that.
They already climbed up in it and broke a branch off about 3 years ago. Yep, that's where he broke it. He climbed up in there and broke it right off.
We had in our backyard on Hope Street. Do you remember this?
Climbing?
We had a climbing apple tree.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go way up in it. Always the biggest apple was at the very top of the tree too. And we either try to knock it down with a rock or a stick, or you climb up in it to try to get out on it. I
Yep.
just remember climbing up in that apple tree. That was not a whole lot of apple trees these days that you can climb up in.
Yeah,
People
probably
don't
not.
grow them that way.
No, they don't make them
They
big
cut
anymore.
them. They're keeping them
Yep.
low so they can get to the fruit or something. And this was, I don't know. Then it seemed like it's 50 feet tall. It's probably 25 feet tall. We
Well,
were
this right here was one of our first gardens. Well, of course, you see, we can't garden here anymore. I got a bunch of mulch, and we actually have some oregano still growing over there, and a little bit of asparagus is under this tree, but it's like, we got a few shoots coming up, and I can see one right here.
That'll keep coming back for what?
Well,
17,
but it's
20
really
years if
shaded
it-
here.
Yeah.
We can't even eat it. It's so
That's
tiny.
one of the things one of my perennial
Yep.
favorite perennial vegetables.
We
I'm
have
trying to
strawberries
plant
down
all.
there. as
I
you
see onions right here.
Yep, have a pile. We had a tire there, and we threw some onions in it, so those came back. And so we've grown zucchini here and squash and all kinds of stuff. Now, as you see, we actually had ties here. We had it all, kind of built up. So I want to put not a root cellar, but a cold frame greenhouse type little thing between the two trees. Because of the shade in the fall, in the summer, and then in the winter, all these leaves fall off. So it's real sunny.
Oh, you mean for stick starting?
Yes, for starting
Yeah.
stuff. The biggest issue we're going to have
Keep it
is
cool that way.
are the roots. I don't know if we're going to, get into the roots between the two trees. But I've been trying to prepare this piece right here to do that, to dig straight into the hill, because then it keeps it cooler. Yeah, there's our oregano. Still growing in the shade because these trees grew so big. So we put a couple of hoop houses here, little bitty hoop,
Just start a little
beds. So we usually grow something every summer. Now this is the first summer we haven't done a garden since we've been here.
Some strawberries
Yep,
over there.
the strawberries are there. That was a huge patch here, but we've got, have you ever seen trumpet creepers? Or some people call it trumpet vine.
Oh.
It's a red flower, and they're native. But they will get huge. We have them
Is it
in our,
red or orange?
well, ours
Like
are
a
red.
Deep orange?
Sometimes
I know what you're talking about. It almost looks like I saw a little.
they get into my strawberries right here, and I have to dig them out. And their root system goes 25 feet under the ground.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So,
I might not
and
have
they
planted
pop
the one
up.
I planted.
Yeah, they pop up everywhere.
It's just feeding the bees and stuff, right? I mean, it's just pretty, right?
We got lots of right, but they're native to this. This whole field was covered
really?
in them.
Wow.
And so it invaded all my strawberries in this patch here. So the only way they said to get rid of them is keep them cut, and finally the roots die.
Yeah.
So I still have about 5 coming up in those strawberries. So I keep cutting them, keep cutting them, keep cutting them. I had to make the bed so small so I could handle it.
Let's see how you did these. You just took a
2x4.
piece of wood.
Yep. Drilled a hole in it and bend it over. Super easy. And these have been here now we have some down in the other garden. Of course, these are about to rot, but they'll stay there for probably 2 or 3 more years before they completely rot away.
Now, what did you have in here?
We did peppers last year. We've done tomatoes. We did all kinds of peppers.
You put poly over this, Don, and start it while the ground is still frozen, basically.
What do you do for?
And that's what we did. We put we seeded stuff and put it in there to keep it.
Don't you have to have airflow?
It does. We don't.
You don't close the ends.
No.
Okay,
Or
just-
if you do,
The
it's
sun
still.
shines on
Little
the
bit more
poly
heat.
and it
Yeah.
heats it up and keeps moisture
Yep.
and
All right.
warmth in there.
And the other thing we use it for in the fall is to extend if we need to keep the frost off.
Right.
So we have those garden blankets. They're white, and you can
Okay.
put. We have some real thicker ones, and then we have thinner ones depending on the temperature. And so we'll use these. So this year is our first year not to. Tim tried to he was getting a bed ready, and the cat kept going to the bathroom in it. So we're going to have to protect our beds from the cats. We put plastic on that one, and they just ripped the plastic up. They were like jumping at bugs and everything, that kind of thing. So this fence went up a couple of years ago so the goats can stay contained. And they've done really well. They have not tried to get over that type of fencing down in their yard. So,
Why would they? Where would they go?
well, goats can get out of almost anything.
But I mean, what if you're living in paradise? Why you want to get?
Right, they have so much food, there wouldn't be any reason.
So how many chickens and goats and livestock you thinking about doing?
Well, right now I have 3 goats. They're females. They're about 1.5 years old, and are they here? Maybe they're 2. Dang, how long have we had them? Actually, they're born in April. They're 2 years old. So eventually, it depends on. I'm going to start out with just the 3 this year and start moving it, get my sheds up, and then I'll grow it, and we could have 10 or 20 at some point, depending on how quickly they need to move, and how much the land will hold.
What do you think the ideal paddock size is for what you're wanting to do?
Well,
is this section right here?
no, what I learned,
Make it smaller, right?
what I learned last weekend is
From where?
At Mother Earth. I went to Mother Earth
okay.
News
That's what you're
Conference.
telling me.
Yeah, the conference. And there was a couple who spoke, and they were so great. They were so practical. So I asked her, I said, how do you know how much, is that cat about to go to the bathroom? I guess I'm about to go to the bathroom in my strawberries. But anyway, I said, how do you know how much land, how much each paddock size should be? You said, you look at your animals. If they're standing on the edge of that paddock to move to the next one at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, you better make it bigger. They said, but if they're still
That's
eating
funny.
really good by 6 o'clock
Once they
in the
get
evening,
trained at every day, they're moving to
Absolutely.
a different paddock.
you know,
They'll
and
eat
you
till
can
they're
look at their
done and go,
haunches. You can look at their, to see if they're good and healthy. And we can tell ours are healthy right now, and they're just in one little square. And she showed us, literally, she said you could put 3 cows, and it was literally only about 20 by 20. 3 cows will sit in that
Have you heard
20
of
by
a guy,
20 all
guy
day
named
long.
Joel Salatin?
Heck yeah, I've got
Okay,
6 of his books.
Okay.
I've been reading his
Because
books for the last
I've seen
8
a lot
years.
of stuff. That's why I know anything about what you're talking
And
about.
Joel
is watching Joel
Salatin did the foreword in this couple's book.
Okay.
And I just got it last weekend to see, because they were so practical. They didn't you got to do all this math and you got to do these formulas. They said no, just do it and move.
You can get
on.
as scientific as you want to.
Exactly.
But you don't have to.
And she said it takes me 10 minutes to move my fence every day, and that's including walking down there, moving the fence, and walking back. Literally doesn't take any time once you set it up right. Now she did a keyhole, or she did it a little differently.
Yeah.
She was showing us a different way if you had a square field,
But you're basically going to have a circle around your property.
No,
Where
no.
paddock to paddock to
No.
paddock, or-
So this field right here is it. That's all I'm running my goats on. Now, if I want them in the woods, I'll tether them. And if I
Okay.
want them to eat all the hedge, you know, they love privet hedge.
But when you started talking about getting a couple of beef cattle.
Yeah.
So even
Literally,
when you do
she
that,
said a
it's-
space from that tree to that fence, and 3 cows would fit right there. So you
wow.
don't need
so
huge.
massive herding in it for a single day, and they were no kidding. They have eaten everything
Well,
that they're interested in.
she
that day.
said, yeah, she said if you've got grass about this high, there's plenty of food right there for them for one day or 12 hours. Some people move them every 12 and some people every 24. Depends on what you're doing and how much land you have. I mean, it was amazing how small the little area was for 3 cows. She said everybody thinks you need this huge space and you don't.
Yeah. Well, I can
And
move
so,
them every single day.
but it doesn't. It
Maybe
takes
not.
10 minutes. You got to
Yeah, yeah.
feed them anyway.
Yeah.
And this way, the
Well,
food,
where are you feeding them?
you're not feeding them if you're doing this.
Exactly.
No
That's what I was
inputs.
gonna- that is
This
feeding
is
them.
the whole point. No inputs. You don't want them to eat too close to the ground. They get worms.
Mhm.
You know, plus your grass doesn't come back quick enough. I mean, they can kill it. So you move them.
So now it competes the grass.
Right, but that's where you use your different types of animals, like you can use your chickens come in. You just have everything that follows each other.
Yeah.
So anyway, I mean they're working on she was like no inputs, hardly
Yeah,
any inputs
exactly.
whatsoever. So the other field we can put them on that for a bit, and then once it's really good and fertile, which that one's better than this one because we did cover crops. We did 8 cover
You're
crops.
talking about the one across the road.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't see it because of the gummy bushes, but
Is that what you call that? I call that.
Eleagnus. It's
that-
invasive, but we didn't know it at the time. The Tuscaloosa
It's got
guys.
the thorns on it, right? I call
No,
that-
no thorns.
What is that?
They have little berries.
Really?
Yep, and the bumblebees love it.
Really? Okay.
It's pretty.
Yeah, so it makes a living fence in a big hurry. We planted that 10, 11 years ago, and look at it. Now nobody can see us. So, but I found out it was invasive after we had planted
A
it.
windbreak right there.
Yeah. So, but on the other side, that's already got red clover that's spreading. Tim said he saw, yesterday we drove around and he saw fescue. We've never had fescue much over there. And I planted 8 different cover crops, like